Hello, good afternoon. I welcome you again in our today's lecture, and this is going to be the second part of our types of listening. So, in our last lecture, we discussed about listening. So, we talked about first two types. One is discriminative listening and comprehensive listening. Dear students, if it is not needed, please just keep yourself mute. Okay, don't unmute it. Keep your microphone mute if it is not needed. Okay, so two main types. One is discriminative listening, and the second type is comprehensive listening. So, discriminative listening, by this actually we meant that that is the very you can say the fundamental or the foundational kind of listening, and it starts when we are in the our mom's womb. From that very day, we start listening, and we actually don't focus on the meaning. Rather, actually, we focus on the differences that we can identify between different sounds. So we can discriminate different kinds of sounds. So that is basically that is about discriminative listening. So here it says that it doesn't involve the understanding of the meaning of words or phrases, but merely the different sounds that are produced. So we focus on different sounds here, not on the different kinds of meaning. That is the main focus here. And then we also discussed about comprehensive listening. And as you can see, the comprehensive listening involves understanding the message or messages that are being communicated. So here, communication is very important. And for that, the knowing the meaning of the listening stuff, that which is also very important. It's not only the discriminating the different kinds of sounds or finding out the subtle differences different among different sounds. Rather, actually, we focus on the meaning here. So comprehensive listening involves understanding of the message or the messages. Okay, right. And now here we are going to we'll talk about three more types. Those are also very important. So it will help us to understand the listening, and also it will help us to find out the differences, different kinds of listening stuff, listening materials. And also we can fix our strategies that how actually we can approach to different listening materials and stuff. So here you see the three main types of listening. The most common is, you can say, the most common types of for interpersonal communication, like informational listening, that is listening to learn, informational listening. Then the second one is critical listening, so listening to evaluate and analyze, and therapeutic or empathetic listening, so listening to understand feeling and emotion. So now I'm going to elaborate on all these three types. The very first type is informational listening. Now if you just take a look at the screen, you can see here it says whenever you listen to learn something, you're engaged in informational listening, so listening to learn something. Now, right at this moment, you're listening to me and you are trying to collect information out of this lecture. So you're listening. So you're trying to get the information out of this listening. So this is a kind of informational listening. And you can see this is true in many day-to-day situations in education and at work. So in education means now you're listening to my lectures. And when you listen to the news, so when we listen to the news, we try to collect information from there. And or when we watch a documentary, so usually we watch a documentary and we try to find out different kinds of information from there. And then when a friend tells you a recipe, for example, your friend actually he has prepared a recipe and you want to learn it. So when he describes it, then you try to collect the information. You try to get the recipe, the ingredients, and also the measurement about the recipe, then how to use all those ingredients in the right measure, in the right amount. So you try to collect that information. Then when you talk through a technical problem with the computer, so, for example, you have a problem in the computer and you went to see a technician, and then he's giving you some information, so you're trying to get the information from his conversation. So there are many other examples of information listening that we can find in our day-to-day life. So information listening basically actually when we listen carefully to collect information. Now, here we have an example. I'm going to play this video to you. So here you can see that how we collect information. This is not a serious kind of listening, the information listening, but in the informational listening, our prime target, our prime objective is to collect specific information, as we do actually in scanning. When we apply this technique in reading, it's one of the reading strategies, that is the scanning. We also do the same kind of style or same kind of a strategy we use here in informational listening. So now here is an example. Please listen to it carefully.
Airport. Announcements and notices. 1.
Iberian Airways Flight 268 to Barcelona is now ready for boarding. Will all passengers for this flight proceed to gate 42?
So you see, this is an example when actually you can say usually at the airport. So if you have the experience of traveling by plane from one place to another country, or from one place to another place. So there you can see there is announcement. So before the departure, before the arrival. So at different times, and even if there is any delay, I mean in a flight, so you can find that there are announcement at the airport. You can also find this kind of announcement at the railway station, and sometimes in modern bus station, you can say. So there actually you can find that this kind of announcement are there. So people get the information about their flight, about the train, about the bus, like this. So let's listen to it again.
Airport. Announcements and notices. 1.
Iberian Airways Flight 268 to Barcelona is now ready for boarding. Will all passengers for this flight proceed to gate 42?
Okay, so was it clear? Did you get it? Dear students. Hello? Hello, dear students.
Yes, sir.
So you have understood, right? Sonia?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, that's great. Okay, now we have more examples, okay? So we have more examples. Here you can see that, for example, in the airport, they're saying that it's a departure time. Now also it says that from which gate actually you have to, check the plane. So there are several gates in an airport. So, and different gates, you have different flights. So that's why you have to know specifically that from which gate actually you have to catch your flight. So that's why it says that it announces a number of gates there. Okay, next.
2. This is the last call for passengers travelling to Rome on Alitalia Flight 571, due to leave at 12:40. Will any remaining passengers please go immediately to gate 12, where the flight is now closing?
So here you can see uh, that's the last call. That means the plane is about to leave, so you don't have enough time. So again, it's announcing that if there is anyone actually who hasn't noticed the announcement, the previous announcements, now that's it. So this is the last call. So this is your gate. The plane is about to leave, so please approach to the the to the desk where from where actually you can collect your boarding pass and other stuff, and you have to show your tickets before boarding the plane. So this is about when actually at the time of the departure at the airport.
3.
Excuse me. I have a ticket for the 12:30 flight to Marseille. I was told to wait for announcements. Could you tell me what's happening?
Is that Air France?
Yes, that's right. Flight 729.
I'm afraid the plane has been delayed because of technical problems. The new departure time is 14:30.
Oh dear, another 2 hours?
So here the lady she's asking about her flight, and she didn't know about her flight because she wasn't getting any announcement about her flight. So she asked the man in the desk that and she actually inquired about her flight, and the man in the desk, he said that it has been delayed because of the technical problem, so now she has to wait another 1 or 2 hours. Okay, so next.
4.
This is the final call for passenger Jenkins, travelling on Swiss Air flight number 414 to Geneva, departing at 12:30. Will passenger Jenkins please go to gate 13 where the flight is ready to depart?
So here you see one of the passengers of the flight, passenger Jenkins. So actually, he hasn't reported yet to the, to the gate or to the man in the desk. That means the officials there, they didn't find it, so the plane is about to leave. So that was the last call for that person. That's why they announced his name and said that the plane is about to depart. So if you don't report now, then you're going to miss your flight. So that's actually they're giving that announcement, just mentioning the name of that passenger.
5.
Oh no, such terrible traffic, and now I'm so late. Excuse me, has the 12:45 Lufthansa flight to Prague left yet?
What's the flight number?
Oh, hang on a moment. Yes, here we are. It's 3196.
Right, you're in luck. It's still boarding at gate 19. Check in quickly and you'll still make it.
Thanks a million.
So here, this one actually, he is late because of the traffic, traffic jam. Actually, he was late to reach to the airport, and he was very worried about his flight. So when he went to the information desk, they said that okay, you still have time. So it's about to leave, and that's why she said that you're very lucky that still you can get on board. So and he thanked her because of this information. He said that thanks a million. So this is all about getting information. So information listening, you can see that we listen to different kinds of announcements. We watch television and we watch documentaries on television or on laptop or computer, whatever it is. So you see, we actually, our prime target is to collect information through this kind of listening. Now, I will move
Airport.
to next. Now, here you see more about informational listening. It says that although all types of listening are active, they require concentration and a conscious effort to understand. Informational listening is less active than many of the other types of listening. When we are listening to learn or be instructed, we are taking in new information and facts. We are not criticizing or analyzing. Informational listening, especially informal settings like in work meetings or while in education, is often accompanied by note-taking, a way of recording key information so that it can be reviewed later. So here you see in the informational listening, actually, for example, I have already showed you this some clips from the some clips, I mean video clips. There, actually, you could hear that it's all about collecting data or information. It's not about criticizing the flight or something else. So I just want to know the information. When is my flight? And from which gate actually I have to take the plane. So you just have to know this information, no criticism. You don't have to think about good and bad, pros and cons like this, merits or demerits. Just we listen and we collect information. So that is that information listening a little bit less active because you don't have to get everything from that listening stuff or the recording or the video or the documentary. You just have to get some information, some statistics, some data, some facts. That's it, some new information. That is the important thing here in information listening. Okay, now the second type, that is critical listening. Now, from the very title, you can see that the critical listening, that means you have to take information very critically. You have to analyze them. You have to criticize them. So from the title, you can understand it. So now here it says, here you see, we can be said to be engaged in critical listening when the goal is to evaluate or scrutinize what is being said. So maybe you have been said something, you have to listen to it, then you have to take information, at the same time you have to evaluate or scrutinize. Now, critical listening is a much more active behavior than information listening and usually involves some sort of problem solving or decision making. So you see, in the informational listening, we only listen to the information. We only collected the information after listening to the listening stuff. But here, in the critical listening, you have to listen, collect information. At the same time, you have to evaluate, you have to scrutinize, you have to analyze it, analyze information. So usually involve some sort of problem solving or decision making. For example, there is a problem in your family. So all your family members, you sat together to take a decision about a matter. So all of you listen to the matter, you have listened to the thing, then there are some suggestions, recommendations. And after listening to all these suggestions and recommendations, since your father, he is the guardian, or he is the key person in the family, so he took all the information, all the ideas from you, from all the family members, then he analyzed it, evaluated, evaluated all the information, and then he took a decision. So this is all about critical listening. You listen critically. Then you evaluate, you scrutinize, then you take a decision. Especially in the meetings, in the official meetings, sometimes we have to do it. We have to listen, then we have to analyze it, and all the decisions or all the information. Then we have to take decision. Now, critical listening is akin to critical reading. That is the way we read a text, especially for the critical reading. We are saying that you analyze all the received information and then you decide on the matter. So just like this. Okay. And also, already I have some information. I know something. So with my existing knowledge, I am in trying to incorporating, I'm trying to incorporate the received information. So then I can put them in alignments. Okay. So already I know the information or I have some belief in me, and then I listen to a stuff, then the new information and also the existing information, I put them together. I synthesize those information and then I make a judgment. I create an opinion. Okay. So when the word critical is used to describe listening, reading, or thinking it doesn't necessarily mean that you are claiming that the information you are listening to is somewhat faulty or flawed. That means whatever actually I'm listening is not flawed, it's not faulty, it's not full of mistakes. Rather, actually, we take new information and then with the existing information that I have in my mind, so we put them together, then we analyze and then we try to take proper decision. We try to create something new, just like this. It doesn't mean that all the time the thing that I've already listened to or the received information that is flawed or faulty, or the thing that I know already that is not flawed or faulty or full of mistakes. It's not like that. Rather, critical listening means engaging in what you are listening to by asking yourself questions such as, what is the speaker trying to say? Or what is the main argument being presented? Or how does what I'm hearing differ from my beliefs, knowledge, or opinion? Just like this. That means with your existing knowledge, you're just trying to compare and contrast. That's it. So critical listening is therefore fundamental to true learning. So if you really want to learn something, then you have to listen to it very carefully and critically. So critical listening, actually, it is fundamental. It is very important, and it's one of the most significant strategies to learn. Okay, so that is says that fundamental to true learning. So if you want to learn something truly, then critical listening is your weapon, or that is your, you can say, one of the weapons to increase your knowledge or to learn something very critical. Now, here we have an example. Let's watch it and learn.
Danajaya Hediarachi. I see something. I see something. Danajaya Hediarachi.
You and I are not very different from this flower. Just like this flower is unique, you are unique. All of us have something special that makes us as beautiful. Do you know what makes you special? Now, the answer to that can be a little difficult to find, because sometimes life has a cruel way of picking out your petals, breaking you in two, and throwing you into the trash. And when you're broken, it's very difficult to feel special. Mr. Contest Chair, my fellow flowers, I can remember the first time I broke. I was 17 years old. I had already flunked high school and managed to get myself arrested. Now, I wasn't afraid of the cops, but there was one person I was very afraid of, and that was my mama. Raise your hand if you have an emotional mother. Let me see. Put them all together, you get mama. I can hear her scream outside the police station. Even the cops were afraid. She came up to me, held the iron bars, looked into my eyes, and I saw a tear coming down her face. Now, I've seen my mama cry before, but mothers cry 3 types of tears. Tears of joy, tears of sorrow, and tears of shame. And when a son sees a mother cry tears of shame, that's a life-changing moment. She looked at me and said, "Son, I want you to be a better man." That night, when I drove home, my dad was waiting for me at home.
Okay, dear students, can you hear me? Hello?
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay, now here you see, we're not only collecting information here actually. We are listening to his speech very critically, right? That what is he talking about? So can anyone tell me that what was he talking about actually? What was his topic? What he started with? This man, he's talking about what or whom? Any idea?
প্রথমে শুরু করেছিল ফ্যামিলি প্রবলেম সম্পর্কিত, তারপর
No, no, in
আলোচনা
English,
করছিল কান্না নিয়ে।
please don't try to use Bangla. Okay, try to use it. Express your ideas in English. Okay?
ফার্স্ট অফ অল
Okay, so he is talking about crime, but before that, he is talking about the uniqueness of man or human being, right? That we, the human being, we are
Yes,
just like flowers, and all of us, we are unique in our own way. So you are unique, I'm unique, he is unique. So everybody is unique in their own way, right?
ইয়েস স্যার।
Okay, and also he's saying that there are sometimes in our life we may have problems, and just like petals, you see, if they're taken out from you, then you just break into pieces, right? So sufferings, disasters, the challenges in life. So all these things actually he was talking about. So he is saying something very inspirational, that we are unique. All right. So you see, when actually I played this video, you became very serious and you started listening very critically. That what is this person saying? What is he talking about? And also you are trying to compare, I mean, his ideas with your existing ideas on knowledge. That how can we say that all of us were unique? Yes, I'm unique, I'm different. Then you started comparing with yourself that yes, I'm unique and he's unique in his own way, I'm unique in my own way. Okay, so you see, this is an example of critical listening. Now it's more about critical listening, and it says that many day-to-day decisions that we make are based on some form of critical analysis, whether it be critical listening, reading, or thought. So see, every day we make decisions. Now, every day we are listening to different stuffs very critically, and we try to analyze it. So it is happening all the time. For example, your dad is saying something very important during your, I mean, when you're fasting, when you're actually breaking your fasting at the time of iftar. So you see, maybe your family members, all of you are sitting together, and then you are discussing something important. We do it usually in the breakfast time, and also when actually we're having our dinner or lunch. So at that time, all the family members, we sit together and then we talk about different stuff, and we think about very critically sometimes over some issues. We also do it in our school and in our colleges, in our universities. We listen to the lectures very carefully, and then we try to critically analyze the stuff, the information that already you have received from your faculty members, from your teachers or your instructors. So our opinions, values, and beliefs are based on our ability to process information and formulate our own feelings about the world around us, as well as weigh up the pros and cons to make an informed decision. The same thing. That means we try to analyze all the pros and cons, merits and demerits, good and bad bad sides about everything, and then we try to make a decisions that is very well informed. We are well informed. We try to make decisions after being well informed. That is, after analyzing your existing information, then you try to make a decision. So critical listening is very important. It plays an important role here to make decisions, to decide on something. But one thing which is important, that in critical listening, actually, uh, it is very important that you have to have an open mind. Okay, with some kind of bias, or I mean stereotyping mentality or inclination, or if you start critical listening with some kind of preconceived ideas, then you'll find it very difficult to have a critical listening. That means, for example, you don't like black people, or maybe you don't like white people, you don't like white complexion, you don't like people who are very tall, you don't like people from different other religions, you don't like people from different locality, different areas or different districts. For example, some people, they don't like people from Barisal. Some people, they don't like people from Noakhali or Lokhipo or Chittagong. But when you try, if you come to this kind of listening with that kind of bias, that kind of stereotyping, what should I say, inclination or temperament or mental disposition, if you have that kind of mental disposition that you are biased, you have some kind of preconceived ideas, then you will not be able to analyze something critically. Understood what I'm saying? Do you get my point, dear students? Sonia, have you got it?
Yes, sir.
অর্থাৎ আমরা যদি কখনো ক্রিটিক্যাল লিসনিং এর ক্ষেত্রে ব্যাপারটা হচ্ছে এরকম যে তুমি যদি একটা পূর্ব কোনো ধারণা নিয়ে আসো, হ্যাঁ, যে তোমার মাথার মধ্যে একটা কিছু আছে, তুমি ওটা নিয়ে যদি অ্যানালাইজ করার চেষ্টা করো, তাহলে কিন্তু ভুল হবে। এই জন্য আমাদের ওপেন মাইন্ড থাকতে হবে। ক্রিটিক্যাল লিসনিং এর ক্ষেত্রে আমার মনটা হতে হবে বড়, ওপেন। তুমি সবকিছু নাও ইনফরমেশন, তারপর তুমি সেটাকে অ্যানালাইজ করো। কিন্তু যদি শুরুতে ধরে নাও যে আমি অমুক জেলার লোকদের দেখতে পাই না, সুতরাং সেই জেলার কোনো কেউ কিছু বলছে, তুমি আগে থেকে বায়াস হয়ে থাকলে এবং তার কথাটা তোমার ভালো লাগলো না, তুমি সেটাকে শুরুতেই তুমি নেগেটিভিটি দিয়ে শুরু করো। Got it? So critical listening, we have to have an open mind. We have to, if you have an open mind, then you can just broaden your outlook, and then you can have the true knowledge in that way. So that's why it says that for critical listening, it's very important that for true knowledge, you have to have this, the practice of having this critical listening. Okay, now the last type, that is therapeutic or empathic, that is empathic listening. So therapeutic or empathic listening. So what is it? Now, empathic listening involves attempting to understand the feelings and emotions of the speaker, to put yourself into the speaker's shoes and share their feelings, thoughts. Now, here, just remember, we have two words in English. One is sympathic and another one is empathy. I hope that you understand the difference between sympathy and empathy. But you can see that sympathy is just you say sorry, or you just express your condolences for somebody's loss. That is the thing. But when it is empathetic, or if you express your empathy, that means you want to help him or her. When somebody is in a troublesome situation, if they're in trouble, if they're in danger, it's not only that you just say, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. It's not only that lip service. It's more than that. You say that, okay, I'm very sorry to hear that you are having some problems. So do you need any help? Can I do something for you? Or maybe you will go and you'll say, okay, let me help you. So that is empathy. So empathy is more than sympathy. Okay, it is not only saying sorry or expressing your condolences, or you can say it's not only sympathizing with the person. It's more than that. So you want to do something for that person. So that is empathy. So empathetic listening involves attempting to understand the feelings and emotions of the speaker. So I will try to understand your feelings. I will try to understand your emotions, and then also I will try to help you. I will put myself in your shoes. That means I'll try to put myself in your problematic situations, and then I'll try to understand. Okay, then I will express my feelings to you. So that is empathic listening, or you can say therapeutic listening. Therapeutic listening, we're saying that because this kind of listening is used for therapy. Psychologists, different kinds of, therapists, actually, they use this kind of listening to give therapy, to give, it's some kind of medicine, you can say. It's a kind of treatment to the people, especially people who have some kind of psychological problem. It's not the disorder, but it's a kind of problem. So if you go to a psychologist, maybe they will give you this kind of therapeutic listening. So they will ask you to say, they'll ask you to talk, to keep talking, and they will listen to your conversations or they listen to your speech, and through that they will try to identify your problems, and at the same time they will express their empathy towards you. So that is therapeutic or empathic listening. So empathy is a way of deeply connected with another person, and therapeutic or empathic listening can be particularly challenging. It's very challenging. You must know about different things and you must be an expert. Even if you're not expert, then you must have some idea about people's problems, their troubles, then or their hardships. Then you can help them. You can help them out to solve their problems. So therapeutic problem is really challenging, and sometimes people, they don't want to open themselves to other people. So it is very difficult to convince them and to tell them that, okay, no problem, you can confide in me, whatever actually you want to say. I will listen. I will help you. Don't worry. I'll not disclose your secret to anybody else. Talk to me. What is wrong with you? What is your problem? In we say that আমরা বাংলায় কি বলি যে তুমি মন খুলে কথা বলো, আমার সাথে কথা বলো, তাহলে তোমার কষ্টটা কমে যাবে, দুঃখটা কমে যাবে। এটা কি? এটা একটা থেরাপিউটিক লিসেনিং। আমি তার কথাটা শুনতে চাচ্ছি যে মনটা হালকা হবে, কথা বলো, মোদের মধ্যে কথা জমিয়ে রেখো না, প্রকাশ করে ফেলো, আমাকে বলো, আমি শুনছি তোমার কথা, আমার সময় আছে, কোনো সমস্যা নেই, আমি তোমাকে হেল্প করবো, কি হয়েছে বলো। This is called therapeutic or empathic listening. We also do it in our day-to-day life, especially with our dear ones, with our friends and family members. We do it. We practice it every day. All right. So empathy is not the same as sympathy. It involves more than being compassionate. So it's not only about being compassionate. It's not only being, feeling sorry for somebody else. It's more than that. It involves a deeper connection, a realization, and understanding of another person's point of view. So you have to understand his point of view, his problems. Then you can say that is empathic listening or therapeutic listening. It's not only expressing your compassion for somebody else. It's more than that. Now, here you see counselors. They use this kind of, or the therapists that I've already mentioned, counselors or therapists or the mentors, okay, psychologists. Some of the professionals use therapeutic or empathic listening to understand and ultimately help their clients. So if you go to a psychologist, they will try to understand you, they will talk to you, and through that, they will try to understand you, and they will try to solve your problems, or they will give you medicine or advice accordingly. So this type of listening does not involve making judgments or offering advice, but gently encouraging the speaker to explain and elaborate on their feelings and emotions. So they will not only make judgments. They will not give you directly. They will not give you advice, but rather they will encourage you to speak, and they will ask you to explain and elaborate. And they will also, explain and elaborate on your feelings and emotions. So skills such as clarification and reflection are often used to help avoid misunderstandings. So for example, if you're my psychologist or therapist, so if I go to you, so I will talk to you, then you will try to understand me. You will give me the clarification, because sometimes we face difficulty to understand ourselves. Sometimes we cannot understand, or we cannot explain our own emotion. We don't know what is it. So we go to an expert, and that expert helps us to understand our emotion. They explain it to us. They give us clarification. They try to enlighten us about our own emotion and about our own mental complexity. So in this way, actually, we can avoid misunderstanding. Okay. Now, here I have an example. So this is a video. You watch it. So you can see a therapist. She is listening to one of her patients.
How much time do we have?
About 8 minutes. But we can stop. I just have to get you to sign this.
So you're not even curious?
About what?
About, like, why I'm here? The lying thing, like why I'd do that, or why I'd make something like that up?
I'm curious about you, Marie. Who you are.
That's not what I asked.
Here's what I think. No one makes up something like that unless there's an element of truth to it. Whether you were raped that night or invented a story about being raped that night, I think the truth is you've been violated. You're carrying burdens that were dumped on you by people who didn't love you as well as you deserve to be loved. And that's what I'm curious about. How I might help you carry those burdens a little more lightly, or maybe even lay some of them down. But this is your time. And we have a few minutes. If there's something you want to tell me about that night, I would love to listen.
Okay, dear students. So you have watched it, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so here you see that young lady, she is a patient, and you can see the doctor, and she is a therapist. So the therapist actually, she is giving her help, some kind of advice, and she is also trying to give her some kind of solace. So she is compassionate at the same time, she understands her problem. So she is encouraging her to talk, to open up herself to the therapist so that she can understand her problem, and accordingly she can give her advice or medicine, whatever assistance or help actually she needs. So this is called therapeutic, or you can say empathic listening. Even though actually you and me, we are not experts, or we are not therapists, but still you can see that we practice it in our day-to-day life. For example, if one of your friends is in trouble, and if he is very close to you, so he will go to you and he will ask for your help. Then you will try to listen to him, then you will give him some advice, or sometimes you'll give him some kind of solace, uh, something like that. Okay, so this is called therapeutic, or you can say that is empathic listening. Okay, so this is all about therapeutic or empathic listening. I hope that you have understood it. So these are the three different types so far that we discussed today, along with those two main types of fundamental types of listening. That is, one is discriminative listening, another one is comprehensive listening. And today we have learned three more, that is informational listening, and then critical listening, and therapeutic or empathic listening. So dear students, we don't have enough time for today's lecture. So if you have any question, you can ask me, or if you have any comment, otherwise we can call it a day. Do you have any question, dear students? Any question?
No, sir.
Okay. So I'm going to
No,
upload
sir.
I'm going to upload this video as usual. So you can watch the video again and again, and then you can get the idea about different types of listening from here. And if you have more questions, you can talk to me, you can text me, or you can call me over phone. So I'm always here for you.